Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am a little bit sick, but I gotta get this video up, and I've been sick for the past like 5 days and it hasn't cleared up. So I just gotta get this video filmed and up. So we're just gonna fight through this and we're gonna do our best. So today I'm going to be talking about everything I read in August and then what my plans are for September. I'm kind of just doing a 2-for-1 because number one, I didn't read a whole lot in August. Number two, I don't have a lot planned for September, and I didn't feel like doing a double upload because like that's just a little bit extra and they'd be like 5 minutes a piece, and like I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like content overloading when it doesn't need to be like that. So I guess I'll start with everything I read in August first. So as previously mentioned in my Where I've Been video, I didn't read a whole lot. August was a little bit of a tricky month for me, so I don't remember what I read. So the first book I read this month when I was like on my game reading a whole lot was This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I forgot what I rated it. Let me look at my Goodreads. I gave this 3 stars. I think my actual rating was a 3.5. I don't know. Either I like missed a whole chunk in the middle or I don't know, but this book just didn't do it for me, which was like so sad because I was so excited to finally own a Victoria Schwab. This was the first Victoria Schwab that I owned and I was so excited. I don't know, I don't think I got it, but that's just me. So writing was very good, world building was very good, I just didn't get it. So it wasn't my favorite thing, didn't hate it, it was just kind of average for me. I will not be picking up Art Dark Duet as of right now. I don't feel the need to continue on. However, that's not going to stop me from reading Victoria Schwab's other books. So yes, This Savage Song, first book. The next book I read was Goodnight Moon. This fulfilled one of the challenges for the readathon that I was doing. And yeah, I didn't rate it because it's a child's book. Nostalgia. There you go. I read Goodnight Moon. The next book I read was The Geography of You and Me by Jennifer E. Smith. Again, I forgot what I rated this. What did I rate this? This is another 3-star. You know, I've already forgotten what this was about. So obviously I didn't like it all that much. Oh, I remember what this was about. A little too cheesy for me. I'm a good fan of cheese in a in a young adult contemporary romance. However, this was just a little much for me. Didn't love it. It follows Lucy and Owen. Owen has just moved into this apartment building in New York City. Lucy lives there too. They get stuck in an elevator, and then they end up in a power outage in New York City. The whole town's gone out of power, and it's the story of them and moving and doing all this jazz. Yeah, very average for me. It wasn't like a 2-star, like I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. So that's kind of where I put my 3 stars, is like if I like either liked it but it didn't do anything special for me, or if I didn't really like it but like it was okay. You know, that's kind of like my 3 stars. I don't know, my 3 stars are weird. But yeah, it's staying on my shelf because I have a lot of Jennifer E. Smith books, but you know, just food for thought. What am I saying? What else? Oh, a book that I liked. Ramona Blue. I gave this 4 stars. I really liked this. I'm sad I waited so long. This is the author who wrote Dumpling, Julie Murphy, and I'm very intrigued and want to pick up Dumpling now. So that is a sign that it was a good book. How I would classify this book is kind of like a coming of age story. There's queer representation in this. So our main character, Ramona, is queer. She's learning her own identity throughout this. She's growing up. She has fallen in love with this girl, and then some stuff happens, and I'm the worst book blurb person ever. Things just kind of change and feelings change and things shift and all this stuff happens, and it is about learning who you are in your own identity and embracing that, and also like just kind of growing up and dealing with some crap. So really liked this. Gave it 4 stars, like I said. So yeah. So now we're on to the half book I read. I read about half of this at like the beginning / middle of August, and then I just finished it a couple nights ago. So I kind of read it in September, but then I also kind of read it in August. It was on my August TBR, so like we'll say it was August, but that is Scarlet, which is the second book in the Lunar Chronicle series. I don't own it. I rented it from my library and I've already returned it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as Cinder, and Cinder got like a 4-star from me. It wasn't like as good. It wasn't like as much of a shocking twist per se. So like I liked the incorporation of a new character and I like how the puzzle pieces fit together, but I didn't like it as much as Cinder. I will still be continuing on with Cress, I believe, is the next book. So I did like it enough to continue on. It's kind of like, you know, that middle book syndrome, you know, it's just like not as good as the first and like it's building up for the next. So there we go. That is everything I read in August-ish. And so now I'm going to be talking about my September TBR. First, I will be talking about the arcs I am intending on reading this month. I first am reading 6 Goodbyes We Never Said. This comes out the 24th of September. Don't know what it's about. On page like 10. Yeah. Ooh. I know that it deals with a lot of hard topics. I know there was a trigger warning at the beginning of the book, which I did like. I did appreciate that. Yeah, I got this off of NetGalley in exchange for a review, so I will be reviewing it. But like I said, I'm only a few pages in, and typically with my reviews, I like to go in like kind of knowing what they're about when I request them, but by the time I get approved and get around to reading it, I forget what they're about. I think this is a contemporary romance. Stay tuned for my wrap-up or my review to see what I think about it, because I don't really know what it's about yet. The other arc that I'm reading this month doesn't come out until November, I think. That is Color Outside the Lines, or Color Outside the Lines. And this is an anthology written by a variety of authors. The covers of these books will be included somewhere on the screen, probably like right here, I don't know. But you can see some of the authors there. And you can probably see the reason I requested this one. Adam Silvera's in it. I got this on like, I think it's called Edelweiss or something like that. I never know how to pronounce it. But again, exchange for a review. This is an anthology about queer people in people of color in relationships. There are some queer stories in here, but it's predominantly people of color in relationships and things like that. Really enjoying it so far. I've read the first 2 stories. Adam Silvera's is last, and I was gonna read Adam Silvera's last anyways, but what I'm kind of doing is reading a story a day and then going to average the rating of all of them. So I'm assigning each story a star rating, and I will, in my review, state what I gave each story, my favorite story, my least favorite story, and like a little bit about each. But queer people in relationships. No, people of color in relationships. Adam Silvera's in it, and I keep thinking queer, and I know some of them are queer, but it's people of color. People of color. So those are the 2 arcs I am reading this month, because one of them comes out this month, and then one of them I'm just really excited for, and I can't wait. So this month, what I wanted to kind of do was, I've been struggling with my reading over the past month, so I wanted to kind of pick up in some of the worlds I love, read a couple of the short stories that pertain to that, or books that have come out, so I'll talk about those first. First up, we have Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This is the short story collection, or short story thing in the Grishaverse. And these pages are like freaking fantastic, and I'm really excited to just be back in the Grishaverse. So this is something that is on my TBR for this month. I really liked the trilogy, really liked the Six of Crows duology, so I think I just want to kind of spend some time, and it's short, so I don't feel like I'm pressuring myself too much to be working on this one this month. Along the same lines, I will be reading King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is the Nikolai duology, so it follows the trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. I believe you have to read both in order to read this. Stay tuned for my wrap-up. If I read this month, I will let you know. But yeah, I will be reading this after I read Language of Thorns, which is persuading me to pick up Language of Thorns because Nikolai was one of my favorite characters in both the trilogy and the duology. So Gotta read Language of Thorns so I can read this bad boy. It's a little bit thick, but I am probably gonna get the audiobook for this so I can like listen to it while I'm working on school projects and things like that, because I just really am excited to read this. I'm excited to spend some time with Nikolai this month. I forget like what these short story things are called. Like I know they're not anthologies. Are they just short stories? There's like a word for them and I can't remember what it is. The last like world-based book that I am reading this month is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. I really liked the ACOTAR trilogy. Favorite, ACOMAF, least favorite, ACOWAR. And so I wanted to spend some time in that world again, and A Court of Frost and Starlight is a short story about the same length as Language of Thorns. Love Feyre and Rhysand, so I'm excited to read this. Don't know what it's about, don't want to know. I saw it in the store, I picked it up, and I left with it. So I want to go into this blind because I went into ACOTAR pretty blind and was continuously amazed throughout that book, and ACOMAF. Little let down in ACOWAR, but that's like not important. So I'm excited to get into this one. I don't expect to be like amazed by any of these short stories, because it's a short story. They can't really tell like a big story like they did in ACOMAF, right? But I'm excited just to spend some time with these characters again. Sorry about the change in framing. Things happened. But to kind of break up all the fantasy that I was going to read this month, I wanted to throw in a little something more contemporary as well. Even though I am reading those arcs that are a little more contemporary based, I wanted like a book. So the last book on my TBR for this month is With the Fire. The last book on my TBR for this month is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I wanted to kind of break up some of the fantasies I'm reading and read another contemporary. So this follows our main character, Imani, and she's always dreamed of being a chef, but she has a daughter and she's a senior in high school, and she's having to grapple with all these things in her life. And she was raised by her abuela, and can't lie, already read this one. Stay tuned for my wrap up to see my thoughts. Very good representation in this. Really enjoy the representation. I don't want to spoil my thoughts on this for my wrap up, but I liked it. So yes. So that is everything I read last month and am anticipating reading this month, or kind of I've already read. But that is everything that I need to talk about for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in my next one. Happy reading!